Boom. And just like that, we're live. So welcome, friends, to the David Vance 8 p.m. live stream. Welcome to the home of some of the most incendiary podcasting apparently in the universe. We're going to talk about that as well. So we've got lots of stuff to talk about this May Day bank holiday Monday. So hope this one finds you all well. Just seeing all my friends popping up there on different streams on the YouTubes. I see my friends Chris, Richie, Leslie, Tommy, Donny Girl, Claude over on the Getterverse. So Andy, hi Andy, good, aloha, I should say. So well, we got lots of stuff to talk about, and we're going to try and get through it all. Now, we are also on the Facebooks. I don't know if anyone ever watches in the Facebook. I'm not sure. It's a dead channel, isn't it? But maybe we're broadcasting to the dead over on the Facebooks. But nonetheless, that is where we are. Hello, Melissa, over on the Getterverse. Leslie Na as well on YouTube. So thanks very much, folks, for popping along here on tonight. We're going to talk about loads of stuff. We're gonna have a good old chat about, well, I've got tragic news about the Ghost of Kiev we need to chat about. Hi, Bobby, my friend. Good to see you on the Facebooks. I'm going to talk about the Ghost of Kiev. Oh, yeah, I'm going to talk about that. We've got to chat about that. It's heartbreaking news I've got for you, by the way. But we're gonna have to cover that and see if we can be brave and get our way through that one there. So we've got big topics to rattle through. Stuff we don't have time to talk about. Hi, social girl. Don't even have time to talk about the fact that Meghan Markle, Netflix have decided not to progress her plans for a cartoon series written by or co-written by Elton John's husband. Yeah, we don't have time to talk about that. Hi, Dee, my friend. Good to see you. Hello, Kim, John, and all. Excuse me. Now, before we get into the topics, just to say that since we spoke last on this thing, over on the podcast channel, we was deplatformed by KOFI.com, by the Nazis at KOFI.com. Apparently, they didn't want to allow you to donate to us because we're just too dangerous. Who knew? I see myself as a mild and mannered Clark Kent, but apparently when I do a podcast, I'm Superman. Oh, well, I'm so brokenhearted. Coffee.com. You're such a bunch of cards for being scared. So by way of contrast, if you want to support me, you can go to donor.box, which using a QR code or the link below. And if you do, or alternatively, you can buy me a coffee through Buy Me a Coffee. So we got two different platforms. Hi, Greg and Danny, all my friends joining over there from the States. So those are the two methods you can do. And thanks very much to those. Hi, John and Kim. Hi, thanks to everyone who have been very kind and given me a little bit of help, a little love to those donation platforms over the past few days. Hi, Tarlo, my really good friend from Britain. Good to see you here as well. So what's this Donny girl saying? Happy 7th birthday to Princess Charlotte. Oh yeah. She's a young royal. But I was going to say yes. So thank you to those who have given. Appreciate that. If you were in coffee, why does Coffee ask for a post? Coffee, Kim has defunded it. KOFI.com has deplatformed me. So don't go there. Get away from them. Go to DonorBox. That's probably the preferred one. Or buymeacoffee.com. So those are the two options. So there. Right. That's enough of that. That is enough of that. We're getting into the topic. Somebody told me off the other day. They said to me, you take too long in the waffle. Too much waffle at the beginning, David. You need to get into the meaty topics. Yeah, but I have to warm up. That's like saying to a footballer, run on the field and just start going at 90 miles an hour. No. You have to warm up. I'm warming up here. I'm limbering up. I'm getting my verbal muscles all in good shape so we can hopefully get through this for the next hour. If you're watching this over in the Gettrs, right, on the Getterverse, don't forget to hit the heart button. Hit that heart button. Let me know you like it. And I think similarly on the YouTubes, there's a like button, or did they remove the like button? I think no, they removed the dislike button. So I'm good to have my Floridian friends with me. As always, good to see you here as well. Hello, Simon. Warm-ups like Trump, yeah. But thank you, Leslie. I do my best. Anyway, yeah, so that's enough of the warm-up. Right. Serious. It's serious stuff. I've got bad news. I've got really bad news to share with you guys. And I hope you're all sitting. Oh, yeah. Super chats are available on the YouTubes. Thank you, by producer Jed, for reminding me. The super chats are available on YouTube. Give one in the eye to the Nazis who want to defund me. When David is numbering up, the woke need to brace themselves. Yeah, you bet you, John. We is going to cause a lot of pain to leftists. And isn't that very good? Isn't that a good thing to do? Right, bad news, sad news. Now look, if you're watching this, hello, North Gettr, by the way. Always good to see you here. Now, the sad news, and make sure you're sitting down because this is tragic. Because, and by the way, I'm saying some of this because I'm broadcasting to the YouTubes and the Facebooks, which are bastions of anti-free speech, unlike Gettr, which of course is the home of free speech. So I'm watching. Just understand that when I say what I say. Okay. So yeah, the tragic news is that I know so many of us had been heroically behind the endeavors of the Biggles of the 2022s, and that is the Ghost of Kiev. But I've got sad news, and I'm going to have to bring it up on the screen now. And I told you to brace yourself for this. But when it came to the poor old Ghost of Kiev, someone who we all adore, I think we're going to, yes, here we have it now. Oh, brace yourself. Oh, no. I can't believe it. The Ghost of Kiev. And remember, the longer you can extend the E in Kiev, the better. Extra virtue signaling points. Who had been hailed for shooting down 40 Russian planes is a myth, says the Ukrainian military. They actually said it, right? Not David Vance, YouTube, Facebook. It's the Ukraine saying, yeah, he's a myth. What? I thought he was a 29-year-old major. Yeah, but let's read some of the points. And hello, Angela, by the way, good to see you. And DJ Sharpie as well. All you guys, Greg, great. And my good friend, Old Baz as well. Such a great gang of folks. So the notorious symbol of Ukraine's fighting spirit became famous. Oh, yes, the British media loved him. They couldn't get enough of him. Blitzer, how dare you? How dare you say the Ghost of Kiev is now Chicken Kiev? But of course, he really is. But the Ghost of Kiev is just I can't believe I'm saying this stuff. He's just a superhero legend. Ukraine's Air Force has confirmed. They confirmed that. It's alive and embodies the collective spirit of pilots defending Kiev, the army said. Major Stepan Tarabalka, crazy name, had been dubbed the Ghost after he died in battle. All right. The mythical character was thought to have slain 40 Russian... I can't read this without laughing. Hello, Stu, by the way. Good to see you. And, of course, welcome to Republican Rocker, one of our loyal followers here on the stream. Stu says he's not dead. He bumped into him in Tesco's yesterday. Well, that's as plausible as the story in the first place, isn't it? Because you will remember conspiracy theorists like me at the very beginning of this Ghost of Kiev laughing at it and saying, nah, he didn't exist. But if you'd have said that on the YouTubes or Facebooks back then, you would have been given a strike and told you were spreading Ukrainian misinformation. But it turns out that the people that were spreading Ukrainian misinformation were Ukrainians. Yeah. So that's tricky. That's a tricky one. But get your, nonetheless, make sure, yes, James Jameson, make absolutely sure. I can see everybody's joining in the fun here. Oh, yeah. There's a guy works down the chip shop, swears he's the Ghost of Kiev, he says. Biggles flies undone. Yeah. Biggles, the mythical, I mean, the thing about it is, Biggles, I remember when I was a child reading the Biggles books, right? Tales of daring do in, I think, the First World War, British pilot flying one of those old aircraft, and he was shooting down the Germans. But he was a substantial figure as the Ghost of Kiev. Oh, dear. Oh, it's so funny. So funny that they got this one. Well, they kept it going. But here's the, look, there's a serious point here. Well, actually, there's not a serious point here at all. Because, I mean, the guy never existed, which the Ukrainians have confirmed he never existed. Just a superhero legend. So it was sheer propaganda. Sheer propaganda. D is saying you pronounce Kiev with a silent E. Old Baz says Julia Hartley Brewer has the strangest dreams about the Ghost of Kiev. It came to her in the middle of the night, the Ghost of Kiev, this intrepid pilot who shot down 40 Russian MiG fighters. Here's the thing. The Ukrainian Air Force is geriatric. The aircraft that they've got are almost as old as me, right? I believe the aircraft they've got go back to the 1960s, the late 60s. So we were being asked to believe, imagine that, oh yeah, this pilot, he jumped into these geriatric aircraft, zoomed up into the sky as far as he could go, and he took out one by one all these Russian MiG fighters. And honestly, and look, there is a serious point here. Everybody watching this stream, wherever you are, you and I both know that this was absolute garbage from the beginning. It was propaganda. It was the propaganda. The Red Baron, brilliant, James Jameson, the Red Baron of Ukraine never existed. He never existed. And yet, yes, North Gettr, we do need to laugh. At times when we're under pressure on so many other fronts, not least COVID, we don't talk about that on the YouTubes because reasons. Although we might. Nonetheless, this was just an invention. It was a propaganda stuff. My own view, if you want to ask me about, the Ghost of Kiev, I believe this was dreamed up probably in London by a PR agency run by the Ukrainian Air Ministry and then pushed out in the British press and then decimated around the world. That's what I actually think happened here. Greg Elliott says, yeah, I reckon they're using biplanes. Still, and I think the Wright brothers designed the planes used by the Ukrainian Air Force, but that doesn't matter. Those Wright plane wind-up aircraft, they took the Russians on and he shot them all down except he didn't exist, which means everything you've heard all along was not true. Not true. So Richie says, I saw someone driving around with one of them flags that fits to your car window when you close it, a Ukrainian flag. Yes, I should replace this flag behind me. You see this one? I should replace this to show my virtue with a Ukrainian flag or maybe the Russian one. I'll have to think about that. I'll have to give that a bit of a think. Yes, Leslie, a very wise decision. In case YouTube shuts me down, all I'm doing is stating what the Ukrainian Air Force said. Oh, I am saying that. So Leslie, I'm being a good boy. I'm not saying for 1 minute you can't believe a thing that comes out of Ukraine. Never would I say that, YouTube. Never would I say that. So but having said that, oh yeah, Angelina, yeah. Did you see Angelina Jolie stopping by? Because that's what happens in this terrible war zone. These Hollywood A-listers, they just pop in for a chat, just like, let's see, yes, Nancy Pelosi dropped in for a chat. after dropping 33 billion into Zelensky's bank accounts. That was a coincidence, wasn't it? A complete coincidence. Yeah, but I'm not going to, I'm diversionary. Right. But lest you think that the Ghost of Kiev was the only thing that's a bit questionable that the media have been playing us, I wanted to bring up another thing to talk about here, because we got a couple of, if we can bring them up. Yes, yes. Don't forget, alongside the Ghost of Kiev, we had Ukraine's deadliest female sniper, who's had 10 confirmed kills. Who confirmed them? Oh, she did. To take on Putin again, and tells us she shot 3 Russian separatists one night as they tried to storm her trench. One night. And she was blindfolded, right? She was blindfolded. And she didn't even have a gun, but she still was able to shoot them using special mind trick techniques. And I am sure that the Ukrainian sniper Olena Bizolurska, great name, that gets you maximum points in Scrabble, by the way, if you can get Olena Bizolurska, it's spelled out. Yeah, Blitzer. I think that's probably, don't put the comment up on screen, but I think that's probably why she was there. But anyway, yeah, so this female sniper, she never existed. I don't believe that for 1 second. And then there's another one, and then don't forget Snake Island. Remember Snake Island, when those brave Ukrainians under siege by the evil Russians said to them, F you, not my words, their words, and then they died. Except they turned out to be all alive and they'd all been taken prisoner. What? So Claude says she shot 10 rabbits as well as her own foot. Yeah, we've got trench warfare. Everyone knows we have trench warfare going on in Ukraine. It's a fact. The media tell us, and the media would never lie to us. So we have, yeah. So we got, Snake Island, these she-wolves. I mean, the other thing, did you see at the very beginning when this whole conflict started, and they talked about everyone signing up? Well, don't worry, in a minute, but not just yet. We're going to show you. I did find an exclusive image of the Ghost of Kiev because I want to share it with you, seriously. But before we get to that, just to point out that, whether it is the Ghost of Kiev, whether it's these female snipers, whether it's Snake Island, whether it's the glamorous blonde women, the very sexy looking blonde young women who were signing up to fight Putin, none of it happened. Things that never happen. I'm afraid. I'm sorry about that. And I'm sorry if the truth hurts some people's feelings. I'm really sorry about that. But we just have to leave it like that. Now, as promised, a lot of people say, but the Ghost of Kiev, someone must have saw him at some point. Well, they did. And a photograph was captured. And now, brace yourself. I'm going to share with you an exclusive, a world first of the Ghost of Kiev, and we're going to bring him up right now, hopefully. Here he is. That, my friends, is the Ghost of Kiev. Now, okay, admittedly, it is the Scooby-Doo crew that he's scaring, but no one. I mean, he was probably practicing back in the late 60s, early 70s, probably getting a bit of practice in. Then he could scare Russians. But here we have the Ghost of Kiev, and that's as accurate, friends, as anything else you're going to see coming out of Ukraine. Just saying. So, yeah, Scooby-Doo, where are you? Ghost of Kiev, where are you? Actually, one of the best comments, one of you guys on one of my streams somewhere, one of my Gettrs or Gabs or wherever, said that someone must have called in Ghostbusters. Are you going to call Ghostbusters? Oh no, the Ghost of Kiev. He's been turned into Chicken Kiev. So there you have it, friends. You have the terrible news that the Ghost of Kiev never existed. It was all a psyops. Makes you wonder. Hi, Sage Tabor. Good to see you here as well. Good to see you. But yeah, Scooby-Doo. I find Scooby-Doo as realistic as the stuff I am being shown on the mainstream media day in, day out. And I bet you guys would agree with me. I mean, in fact, actually, Scooby-Doo is more realistic, more grounded in reality. So Blitzer says, Angela Rayner is the Ghost of Kiev. How does she find the time? Yeah, when she's so busy flashing. Oh, no, better not talk about that. Don't talk about that. Kim says it's possible a Ukrainian the sacred place have been arresting thousands of its own citizens. Oh yeah, but don't talk about that. Don't talk about that. We all have. Stu says maybe the ghost is really. I can't do a Shaggy impersonation, but all those who had happy times, as I did when I was young, watching Scooby-Doo and getting the ghost unmasked, and who would be underneath the ghost costume? The janitor. That's who it was. Oh yeah, actually, yeah. There's somebody. She got the message. Says Shaggy, how do we get into Hunter Biden? Well, of course, just again, quick jump into Ukraine again. When Nancy Pelosi was there for that all important visit with President Zelensky, two Y's at the end of this. Zelensky. Her son doesn't Paul. I think Paul Pelosi. Good name, by the way, Paul Pelosi. He works for one of those Ukrainian energy companies, doesn't he? Like Hunter Biden works for one of those Ukrainian oil companies. Yeah. Like John Kerry's son works for. I mean, call me a cynic, but there's almost like there's a trend there, but I can't quite work it out. Can you work out what it might be? Has Pelosi, Blitzer says, has Pelosi tested positive for Kiev 22 yet? No, she couldn't, because I would imagine in the case of Nancy Pelosi, her system, I mean, she's a very sensible lady. And how dare you say anything bad about Nancy Pelosi? She's got so much alcohol in her veins that's going to kill any potential infection. Dr. Hackenbush points out that it's, of course, Burisma, and you're dead right, Hunter. But of course, I believe that the laptop's been confirmed. Are we allowed to say that? Are we allowed to say that on the YouTubes? Hunter's laptop has been confirmed. I think it has. I think so. So, oh yeah, but just when we get into the details of what was on it. But that Alice, what? Yeah, you see, Alice says here on the YouTubes, where's all the national auditors checking the money flowing from the UK to Ukraine government? Of course, go on. Listen, Alice, there's 33 billion, not million, billion. Biden, there's lots of American folks watching this here. So you folks know that in the Democrat cities, the absolute Democrat disaster zones, areas with lots of poverty, druggy people on the streets, but areas that could do with being changed and transformed and built up. No money for that. Why is that? Because it's going to Ukraine, 33 billion of it. Strange priorities in that, isn't it? Tarlo says that Ukraine really is a gangster state. Yeah. Danny says she loves the photo up of her and Zelensky. Pelosi and Zelensky in the laundromat, laundering money, getting that money going. Oh, there's brilliant memes about it. We all see it, don't we? James Jameson makes a very scientific statement. James, I want to bring up your statement concerning Nancy Pelosi, and I think this is a fact. It's certainly science. Nancy Pelosi is 94% vodka, and the other 6% is probably something else I'm not allowed to say on the YouTubes. But there you go. That is where we are with the shenanigans. The shenanigans in Ukraine. Of course, on a serious level, obviously, this war continues. The US, NATO, the UK, they want war. They're not interested in peace. If they had have wanted peace, we could have had peace, but no, they're not interested in peace. Peace ain't something that's on the agenda at all, which is kind of rather sad, because the loss of life on all sides is to be deeply, deeply regretted. I've been saying this since January, so at least I'm not new to this one. War is not the answer. It really isn't the answer, but it's also very, very profitable. And you see, you will recall, folks, during the COVID time, which hasn't gone away, by the way, as you will know when we get into Mr. Bill Gates's latest prognostications. you will know that you know, the if you follow the money, you tend to how can I put this? You tend to find out exactly what's really going on. Blitzer says to accuse Ukraine of being a gangster state is an insult to Al Capone and prohibition in Chicago. Well, absolutely. I mean, actually, you know the way scientists talk about black holes. You know these black holes they found in the universe, and you know everything, just things, light, everything just disappears into the black hole. Yeah. Well, Ukraine is basically a black hole, and lots of things just vanish into Ukraine. Money vanishes into Ukraine, and maybe other things that we can't talk about. Alice asked the question. Here's a good question, folks, to share with everyone. Is this a distraction from homegrown problems, or is it to create the fertilizer and wheat shortage? All of that, Alice, all of that. This is a distraction from ongoing domestic issues, for sure, as we get more information about the things that we're not allowed to talk about, but which rhyme with laxines, but not laxines, but it rhymes with laxines. It's a distraction from that. But it also is going to create, hunger and food shortages, and it's driving up massive, energy inflation across the West, in the US, in the UK, everywhere. I see some of your comments. I'm not putting them up on the screen. Northgender says Nancy P is Cruella de Vil without the puppies. Yeah. Well, Nancy P is. I mean, she honestly, she looks like like a mummy from that's been, they've dug up an Egyptian tomb and they've opened it up. The sarcophagus. You try saying sarcophagus after a few drinks, which I haven't had. And they prise it open, and inside is Nancy Pelosi. That's who I think. Oh, and as Stu Frost points out, don't forget Orange Man Bad. Do not forget Orange Man Bad. Did you watch Trump's rally that took place yesterday? I've got to see some of that, so it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Some random guy says, "Hi, David from the Salty Army. Greetings to my Salty Army friends as well. Good to see you on the stream." Dr. Hackenbush suggests that Nancy Pelosi died 10 years ago, but nobody told her. And Leslie Olds makes a very wise, and I think we'd all agree with this, none of what we're seeing now, I believe, would have happened if Donald Trump was in the White House. I believe he projects strength in the same way as Joe Biden projects weakness. I'm sure you'd agree with that. James and we hurt Lefty's feelings here. We crush Lefty's feelings. That's why we get the deplatforming from kofi.com. But we're back. So remember, don't forget, if you want to support the platform, then financially keep the show running, that's where to go. Buy me at buymeacoffee.com or donor box. You see, lefties, this is how it works for us on the right? So when you attack us, we come back stronger. Yeah? Do you understand this? We don't go and cry in our closet. We don't weep. We come back stronger. That's how it is with me. The sad losers that have a go at me all the time, they don't understand. That's what makes me stronger. Old Baz is pointing out, it's almost like you guys share my views regarding Nancy Pelosi. Old Baz says she's never going to die. She's preserved in alcohol, which is a preservative. That's a fact. That's the sort of science that Dr. Anthony Fauci would endorse, I am sure. Andy New says they've created the shortage problem. They're now waiting for a reaction. Yes, I think the food shortage is definitely going to be a thing. So, and I agree again with our friend Leslie that Trump is so great. Given time, he would have cleaned up. He would have cleaned up house basically. They didn't give him time, But look, we're going to have our moment, hopefully in November, Leslie. And again, we're going to have our moment in 2024, as long as they do not cheat us. Blitzer says, Fauci is the real demon headmaster. Oh yeah. If I listen, because we're on the YouTubes, I can't even tell you what I think about Fauci. But if you follow me over in Gettr or Gab, you'll find out very clear what I think about Dr. Anthony Fauci. Wear 16 masks. That's Dr. Anthony Fauci. Yeah. Now, moving on. So we've had a good old banter about the insanity regarding the myths being produced by Hollywood in Ukraine. And so I think we all agree on that. Now I want to talk to you about a different topic. I'm switching now. I'm not jumping across borders, you may say, because, right, this is a UK one, but stick with me because it's all relevant. It's about immigration, illegal immigration. You know, one of the great troubles that troubles that the US and the UK share is that we both have administrations in place that aren't interested in protecting our borders. Nobody's interested Biden regime, not remotely interested in that southern border you've got. That southern border is wide open, and not interested in doing anything about it. But guys, in the UK, you see, we got the same problem. We have exactly the same issue. We have a government, and we've had governments now for a long time, and they're not interested in protecting British borders. Now, there's an irony in that, because in 2019, Boris Johnson came to power in the wake of the Brexit vote and all of that, promising he's going to get tough on immigration. Hello, Ebola outbreak map.com. Love your show, David Vance. Thank you so much for your kind words. I appreciate that. Boris told us, listen, because he's like Churchill, isn't he? He's like Churchill, cartoon Churchill. He was going to get serious with all the illegal migration coming into the UK, in particular that coming from the north of France into the southern shores of the UK. And to prove how serious he was, after 2 years of doing nothing about it and watching the numbers rise, a breakthrough deal was announced about 2 weeks ago, roughly 2 weeks ago. And the breakthrough deal was, get this. Now, this is worth listening to. The UK had agreed with Rwanda, or was it Wakanda? I'm never sure. Wakanda, Rwanda, it's the same, isn't it? I think Wakanda is as real as Ukraine anyway. A deal with Rwanda had been agreed, whereby Britain would deport illegal migrants arriving on British shores to Rwanda. And that was going to be, so that was solving it all. That was job done. That lasted for about 2 seconds, maybe 3 seconds. And then we discovered, well, it wasn't going to be all the illegal migrants that were going to deport, but maybe single males. And then only if they met certain criteria. So then people said, well, what percentage of these illegal migrants are you going to deport? And to Rwanda. And the percentage was estimated as about 2%. I kid you not, 2%. So 98% get to stay. Oh, that's tough. And then it was said, well, you cynics out there laughing at this and mocking it, you don't understand that the fear of going to Rwanda is going to stop these people coming across the English Channel. Oh, really? Bring up the next headline, please. Here we go, folks. Hundreds of migrants resume UK Channel crossings weeks after the Rwanda asylum deal. Oh, well, that sorts it out then, doesn't it? And as we see, a lovely picture of a dinghy being towed by Border Force to the Dover or wherever else they bring these people in. And yeah, here we get the info, friends. Hundreds of migrants, literally a bloody armada on Sunday. I think I've seen a number of about 247, whatever it was. Now, guys, I know in America you're getting like tens of thousands coming across from the southern border, but we were getting that after 11 days when people were saying maybe this is working. The threat of Rwanda, and by the way, if you thought that was a bit racist, wasn't it? Thinking that the threat of going to Africa would stop people coming to the UK, racist. I don't agree with that racism. But of course, the reason for the hiatus in the numbers coming across is nothing to do with Rwanda. It was to do with the fact that for 11 days, the weather, the sea conditions in the English Channel were a bit choppy, not conducive to dinghies. But now it's calmed down, and vump, the migrants, they're coming back. They are coming back. And the reason, and of course, in fact, we have it down here. Sunday's arrival of 250, just can scroll, of 254 people. Man, 7,000 have arrived here so far in the first 4 months. 7,000 in 4 months. So if you extrapolate that means, we're going to see well in excess of 20, 25,000 maybe in the year. Huge numbers of people coming into the UK. Why are they coming into the UK? They're seeking asylum. No, they're not. They're economic opportunists at best. At best. I know some people say, no. If you look at them in the dinghies, they're full of, doctors, brain surgeons, rocket scientists, DNA experts, perhaps. Some people say that. I'm not sure. I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, they look very much like young fighting age men. Bobby says he'd like to ask a question. Could it be that Iranian people who've alleged to have been used as flaps are amongst the alleged refugees leaving this war-torn country? Well, we can't really go the rest of that, Bobby. That's too controversial to say on YouTube's and Facebook's, Bobby. Don't you know we're on platforms that don't like truth? Alice says she counted 54 just in one boat. I mean, wouldn't it be better just, hiring one of these big ocean-going liners and just come in that way? No one's going to stop them. No one's going to turn them back. You've heard me argue, my view in this is that the Rwanda thing is stupid. It was stupid. There was why do they do this? Well, Alice, the reason they thought up Rwanda, that's all about keeping the heat off Boris Johnson over Partygate. That's why that was thought up. But the reality is that the only way you stop this scale of illegal migration is you use the Royal Navy to ensure that every dinghy that tries to cross is intercepted and towed back, not to England, but to France. That's how you have to do it. And if people say, oh, no, that's against international law. No, coming here illegally is against our laws, and our laws prevail. And so that's the way you have to do it. And of course, I know lefties get very upset about this, and they say, no, these people, we've got to give them sanctuary. But they've come from France. I mean, hello, I've been in France many times. I don't think I'll be back, though, because Monsieur Macron doesn't like us purebloods. Oh, no, purebloods are not allowed to go to France unless you can prove that you've had at least two of the you-know-whats. Then you can't get into France. So I can't get into France. Can I cope with that? Yeah, I can cope with that. I can survive that. Oh, well, of course. Danny. Danny says, what happened to the many millions of pounds we gave to France to stop them? I'll tell you. The French said, merci beaucoup. And they took the money and laughed at us because our government is pathetic. Hey, we got a troll. We got a troll on the stream, on the Gettrs, I say. Someone says, someone calling themselves Trump is criminal. What a lunatic. Yeah, it's always good. It's always good to have a troll because we get to laugh at them. We get to laugh at them. Republican Rocker says, same with Canada here. We cannot cross the border being a fellow pureblood. Yep. The British government could stop this if it wanted. But this is, you see, where I'm going to break your hearts. The British government doesn't want to stop illegal migration. I think it likes it. The Biden administration doesn't want to stop illegal migration across that southern border. It likes it. In fact, it needs it. And this is the whole problem. We are occupied by governments which hate the people that they govern. Well, that's what I think anyway, and I remain to see evidence to the contrary. Hi there, the Pete, as opposed to a Pete. Pete says the French are laughing at us. They're not our friends. Of course, Pete, they've never been our friends. The French have never been our friends. History, a quick canter through the last 500 or 600 years, should tell us the French are not our friends. Britain has to take responsibility for stopping all the illegal migration. It won't do that. Instead, it plays games. It plays rhetorical games. It does stunts like the Rwanda stunt. Honestly, you may as well say you're going to deport them to Wakanda. You may as well do that. It's as credible as the Ghost of Kiev, which I guess is one of the consistent themes of this broadcast to you tonight. These are incredulous things that are being spun, and I think happily they bounce off us, don't they? Stu Frost says it's importing votes. Stu, you're right. That's absolutely right. It is importing votes, just like in the US, it's importing votes. It's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. These governments, they hate their indigenous peoples, apparently, and they have so little regard for us that they won't protect patriotic Americans by sealing the border. They won't protect patriotic British people by sealing the border. And I mean, worst of all, I have to say this to my English friends: you English guys and gals are at the absolute brunt of this, because the vast majority of these illegal opportunists landing on British shores illegally, they're not going to Scotland. They're not going to Wales. They're certainly not coming to Northern Ireland. They're going to England. But then you see, diversity is your strength, right? Is it? Is diversity your strength? No. But yeah, apparently Rwanda has space for, Stu says, for 500 migrants. Well, that's interesting, because we're going to have about 20,000 plus. So yeah, well, that looks okay. That seems fair enough. And as Alice says, I mean, we see this is another issue, and it must be an issue in the States as well. The Conservatives are housing these illegal migrants coming here, have to be given accommodation. So what does that do then for the housing stock and the availability for British people? Makes it so much more difficult. Also, regulate. By the way, you're absolutely spot on at importing cheap labor, which is then exploited by the big corporations. Absolutely. And Leslie makes a very valid point. There's no assimilation. And you see, this is the thing. In previous times gone by, and in fact, people talk about, America, Big Apple. But yes, people came together from different countries around the world, but they all embraced the American ideal. That's the genius of America. Not anymore, Leslie, because they're not assimilating. These people are not embracing the host culture. And it's the same in the UK. They're basically saying we're coming into your country, but we're keeping our culture. No. If that's your case, you stay where you came from, because you're demonstrating a complete contempt for us, our laws, our traditions, our values, all of those things. Why would we want you? Danny says, I live in a lefty communist-run city, which now looks like Somalia. English traditions are gone. Well, this is the point. You see, Republican Rocker says, we were once a melting pot. My great-grandparents assimilated from the UK and Italy. That's exactly my point. That was good. And that's why, you see, I do not oppose immigration as such. I oppose all illegal immigration, because it's illegal. The clue's in the word. YouTube, Facebooks, don't come at me. I oppose those who break the law. Is that wrong? Is that breaking the TOCs on the YouTubes, on the Facebooks? I don't think so. So I oppose lawbreakers, and for that reason, the Royal Navy should line the channel. And if you did that for long enough, they'd get the message and they wouldn't come across. Every boat turned around, towed back to France. And if France don't like that, maybe we need to get into conflict with France. We need to strengthen up a bit. We need to muscle up. But how on earth can we do that when we have governments that hate us? In Washington, D.C., in Downing Street. It's the same. It's absolutely the same. But, yeah, whole Baz is, I'll not say, I'll not put up on the screen, Baz, but I agree with what you're saying. From melting pot to, a different kind of pot is where we are. Yeah, I mean, again, great comments, guys. I'm trying to read your comments as I'm talking. So, yep, I can whistle as well at the same time. I can multitask. Who said men can't multitask, by the way? It must have been a womax. But there we have it anyway. The Rwanda thing is complete farce. And, unfortunately, we're going to live with the consequences of it. Be very interesting to see, by the way, just before I finish this, we're going to move on to Mr. Bill Gates in a moment. But before we finish, just to say that we have elections happening in the UK on Thursday. I'll be very interested in the results, and I will be covering some of those results, both in terms of English councils and in terms of some of the devolved Northern Ireland administration, under whose jackboot I live. So I will be covering that as well later. Busy week, folks. Busy week. I've got a live stream tomorrow night at probably 7 with a guy called Tony Mallon. I've had Tony on before. Tony standing as an independent candidate in the forthcoming Thursday election. And he's an interesting guy. We're going to chat to Tony. We have also, yes, we have LOL, lots of live streams this week. My producer just doesn't know about it yet. But, and our Hard Truth podcast, which are podcast videos that we put out. It's not a live stream, but we are doing a recording on Wednesday with Ilana, Mercer, and a special guest. There'll be 3 of us on coming out to you probably on Thursday. And then we've got a Thursday podcast live stream. So much stuff. Leslie Old says, we early vote in person here. Listen, Leslie, that's the best way. The integrity of the electoral system across the world, but most particularly in America, the whole mail-in thing has to stop. Only in extreme circumstances should anyone be allowed to vote unless they turn up with proof of identification at the polling station. That is it. That's it. Blitzer says, Britain used to be a nation of shopkeepers. Soon it'll be a nation of Hannibal Lecters. Well, listen, talking of Hannibal Lecter, let's talk about Bill Gates, shall we, for the last section of the show? Simon says, are we moving to Gettr now? Yes, Simon. I'm like, no. I'm going to keep the YouTubes going. Now, this is a test of my ability to hopefully not get myself in deep trouble with the YouTubes, but you never know, or the Facebooks. We're going to talk about Mr. Bill Gates, the esteemed epidemiologist, Mr. Bill Gates. Mr. Bill Gates, who, of course, everyone knows is the sort of guy that we have to pay attention to, we have to listen to. We're going to talk about Mr. Bill Gates. So bring up the heading. So here we go. Bill Gates warns of an even more transmissive and a more fatal coronavirus variant. Oh no. Yeah. But and listen, he should know. Let's have a look at Bill. There he is. Whoa, look at that. There's a face that that's going to give you nightmares, isn't it? Never mind the Ghost of Kiev. Look at that face with his lovely black mask on. So let's get into the details. So Bill Gates has been saying that apparently, in his view, the pandemic is far from over. He reckons there could be a new variant, even more transmissive and even more fatal than the ones that have come before. Really? He says, we haven't seen the worst of it. He said in an interview. Whilst not wanting to be a voice of doom and gloom, I think you are, Bill. I really hate to break it to you. You are being a voice of doom and gloom. He says the risk of a more virulent variant emerging is way above 5%. The Microsoft co-founder and philanthropist and all-round good guy told the Financial Times. Right? He says we're still at risk of this pandemic generating a variant that could be even more transmissive, even more fatal, adding that longer-lasting vaccines, which which block infection are urgently required. Sorry, of course you're right, 100%, Mr. Bill Gates. We need longer-lasting vaccines which block the infection. He's urging the creation of a team of international experts ranging from epidemiologists to computer modelers. Oh, yeah, to identify threats and improve international coordination. He's also calling for a global epidemic response team. Is this the one that he called a GERM, managed by the World Health Organization? Sorry, is that? And of course, Bill is, when it comes to Bill and the World Health Organization, I mean, I am touched, and you should be touched as well, that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is one of the biggest donors to the World Health Organization. I mean, fun fact, did you know when the World Health Organization was set up in 1948, so it was set off, the WHO was set up just after the end of World War II. It was set up in such a way that the only people that could contribute monies to the WHO were nation states. So 100% of income came from nation states. Yeah, so old-fashioned. That changed, and soon others were able to donate to it. Yeah, individuals. And now in 2022, I think I saw a stat that said roughly 80% of monies flowing into the WHO come from other outside organizations, like for example, Pfizer, like for example, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And by the way, YouTubes, those are facts. I'm sorry, but that's facts. And that's because those organizations are kind and good, and they're doing that out of the goodness of their own heart. Republican Rocker says the WHO is a branch of the CCP. How dare you say that? Everyone knows that the WHO, it's bringing paradise on earth, is what the WHO, as we've seen over the past few years. They do an amazing and wonderful job. But I'm just reading your comments here, bearing in mind, because we're still broadcasting on the YouTubes, anything I say is likely to get me a strike. So I have to be very careful about this one. But see, here's the thing. You see, Bill Gates is speculating that he thinks there may be a more transmissible and, as he says, a more lethal variant. How does he know? How does Uncle Bill know that? I don't know. Wonder how he knows that. I mean, I could speculate and say, I don't think there's any chance of it. Again, I'm not a virologist. I'm not an epidemiologist, but the way most viruses behave is, as time goes on, they become less and less virulent. Mostly, not in every case, but most variants. So that as time goes on, what you find is that they become milder and milder. Now, some people, Claude says, since when did YouTube respect facts? Well, of course, Claude, facts are not wanted on YouTube, but my job is to provide facts and then see what they do with them. We saw on COVID-19 that once we went from the Delta variant to the oh my God variant, which became the Omicron variant, it became, and it was demonstrably demonstrated, so this is just, again, facts, a much less virulent, and much less, the infection fatality rate was way down when it came to Omicron, which I know came as a disappointment to some people out there, certain people, certain COVID fanatics. Barbara says Gates is obviously oblivious. Great alliteration there to the fact that his you-know-what has been well and truly rumbled. This is a pathetic attempt to ramp up the fear factor. Well said, Barbara, and good to see you on the stream, by the way. Thank you for being here, Barbara, and thank you for making that comment. Microsoft fires 2022. It's almost like you folks don't take Bill Gates seriously, and that's wrong. Everyone needs to take, well, actually, you probably should take Bill Gates seriously, but for reasons that we dare not even mention here. But, if you're following science, the suggestion would be that viruses do become meeker in the main over time. That is kind of what you would expect. But apparently Bill thinks, no, it could be different for this one. And, Bill's got his own vision for the world. he's got his own plans for, I think, humanity. And we'll just have to wait and see how it all rolls out. But I mean, I was so sad when him and Melinda broke up. I mean, surely that was a marriage made in heaven. How did it end in hell? I don't know. I have no idea what could have gone wrong with their marriage, the Pete. But we certainly can't discuss things like that. But anyway, yeah, Leslie says Bill Gates can shut up and eat some bugs. Well, yeah, I did a podcast on this the other day about do you fancy who fancies forget about having a beef burger or a chicken burger. How about having I don't know a mealworm burger? Do you fancy that, or maybe a grasshopper burger? Do you fancy that? With a side of fries. Do you fancy eating bugs? Sure as hell, I don't. I mean, this whole business about, Republican Rocker says, Bill Gates bugs me. I see what you did there, Republican Rocker. I see what you did. But yeah, Bill would like us to eat bugs. As not just him, others, the European Union, pretty keen. Apparently, it tastes just like chicken. Hey, what sort of bad chicken have you been eating if you think that a Wrigley worm burger is going to taste exactly the same as chicken burger? You've been eating the wrong kind of chicken, my friends, if you think it tastes like chicken. But of course, Gregulate makes a really good point, which a lot of us maybe share. And he says here, they need a reason for mail-in ballots. And they do indeed, my friend. They do need a reason for mail-in ballots so they can fortify the forthcoming elections. Yeah, you see, as we get closer and closer to the midterms in November in the States, to me, this is the critical moment. What happens in the midterms? And we know what we all want to see. We need to see the Democrats booted out of both houses, Congress. We need to see that. But State of 77 says, fries? You mean crispy crickets? Yes. Could I have a Wrigley worm burger and I'd like some crispy crickets with it? Yummy, yum. I'm just salivating at the prospect of this. Simon says, when do we get the Ministry of Funny Walks? Could it be coming soon? Oh, I think we've gone past the point of that. The entire government's a circus at the moment. Someone D says, maybe it's just supermarket chicken. Tastes just like bugs. Richie says, I feed my kids bugs from the garden, much cheaper. Yeah, you don't have to buy them from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation Bug Emporium. But nonetheless, I think that the midterms are going to be critical for the future. If the US is to have a future, if the Democrats prevail, it's all over. And we all know that, right? So we need to get, State of 77. We need a secure election held. And one way to make it insecure would be if, let's think for a moment. Let's imagine if, Bill Gates' forecast was to come true. That would mean if there was just more deadly manifestation of it, and it's always possible, then we'd have to get what Leslie was talking about earlier, mail-in. They could get the mail-in votes. And of course, issues regarding the mail-in votes. By the way, is anyone going to watch the 2000 Mules movie? Am I allowed to talk about that on the YouTubes? 2000 Mules. I think it's being released this week. I'm looking forward to that. Reading the comments. Chicken buckets. Claude says, who will be the UK's disinformation czar? We've got one. His name is Boris Johnson. He's our disinformation czar. I wasn't at the party. Well, maybe I was at the party, but I didn't know it was a party. And okay, I'm really sorry for being caught. I'm seeing all those figures, Bobby. Just can't talk about it because we are on the anti-free speech platforms. You see, if all of you guys would go onto the Gettr and I could get you all on Gettr, then that would mean I can actually say the things that cannot be said because you're on the YouTubes. But you do like your YouTube, so I do my best. Leslie says, there's very meaty carpenter bees in Tennessee. Yeah, I think I'd skip that. I think I'd skip the carpenter bees. Not sure. I like bees, actually. Don't like wasps, but I like bees. But I'm not sure I would go so far as commit myself to crunching and munching down, Leslie, on some of these mighty Tennessee carpenter bees. Right, folks, we have reached the end of our allocated time. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Blitzer, I agree. But remember, we can't say these things. Elon Musk, oh, we should do a separate stream on Elon Musk. He's doing a lot of stuff recently, a lot of stuff. Did you see the thing about the Tesla phone? That their theory, I put a post out in this earlier. Tesla are potentially going to bring out a mobile phone, a smartphone that links in to the Starlink, so you don't have to go through any terrestrial server. So Leslie says she'd eat grass before eating bugs. Yeah, I think I probably would as well, actually. Yeah, I'm never eating bugs. No, not eating bugs. So that's really interesting what Elon Musk's talking about. And just think, if he is somehow and I don't know how you would do this, but if he was to make Twitter a free speech platform, which it's not, it's as bad as these ones that we're on at Facebook and YouTube. But if he was to somehow, allow everybody back and allow free speech, just imagine we could then be logging on to the free speech Twitter from Starlink, and so through encrypted communications. I mean, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Tesla phone. I know, Dave. I know. I understand the deep state arguments. I get that. I'm buying. But there again, if you're logging on through whichever carrier you use to get your Wi-Fi, that's probably the deep state as well. Hello there, we the people. I thank you so much for your kind words. Right, folks. We've managed to get through 62 minutes of this insanity, and we have not, to the best of my knowledge, been banned. So I look upon that as a huge victory. I hope you enjoyed it. And listen, thank you all very much for being here with me. Thanks for spending this time. I appreciate on a Monday night, there's everybody is doing live streams. My friends, all the British friends are doing their live streams, and that's fine. But I like to do it, and I've been doing it, as those on the YouTubes will verify, for years. I've been doing 8 p.m. So I'm going to continue doing my 8 p.m.s most of the time anyway. So big thank you to everybody on the YouTubes, on the Facebooks, on the Gettrs. Remember, if you want to support me, you can do it, but I never get this right because of this reverse thing. Yeah. Please support me via DonorBox or via buy me a coffee. I'll have a latte with infusions of soya, and I will catch up with you, folks, as we go through what should be a pretty active rock and rolling week. So thanks again for your time. Thanks for being here. And as always, I completely appreciate your support. You guys make the stream, not me. Thank you so much, and good night.